Hello ladies and gentlemen, you're watching NDTV. Even as election activity peaks, the political discourse, specifically on women, has taken a hit. Under fire for his reportedly sexist comments on actor-turned-MP Hema Malini, Congress leader Randeep Surjewala has now been summoned by the Haryana Women's Panel on the 9th of April. Now, this issue came to light when BJP IT cell head Amit Malviya took to X, posted a video and said, and I quote, Congress MP Randeep Surjewala makes a wild sexist comment that is demeaning and derogatory, not just for Hema Malini, who's an accomplished individual, but women in general. Under fire from the BJP and women's groups for his remarks, Mr. Surjewala has said that selective parts of the video have been put up and that he has great respect for Hema Malini and that in fact she is the daughter-in-law of Haryana, which is a state, as she is married to actor Dharmendra. Now, Mr. Surjewala's comments are shameful, sexist and offensive to women who are trying to make it in politics. Remember, women's participation in politics has been low for years. Even today, women make up just about 15% of the Lok Sabha. That brings us to the issue we want to spotlight tonight, politics and sexism. What have parties really done to make this space safer for women, at least in terms of language, discourse and optics? We'll be joined by a panel of optics, but for now joining us is also Khushbu Sundar, the National Commission for Women member and also BJP leader. And she's somebody who has gone through some of the stuff that we've been talking about. Thank you, Ms. Sundar, for speaking to NDTV. So in your life, you have taken very strong progressive positions and you've had to face several challenges. You've been part of the DMK and the Congress before joining the BJP, and you've often highlighted the inherent sexism that exists in this space. What do you think of Mr. Surjewala's comments? Would you say that the political discourse has changed now?
Political discourse has changed for the worst, I would say. Especially when you hear it from Congress. The reason why I came out of Congress, the reason why I came out of DMK was only because I understood that men do not know how to respect women. I have seen it in the past and I have faced it myself. So I don't think, there's not any changes when it comes to Congress or DMK. They both remain the same. It's all about men in power. It's all about patriarchal and hierarchy attitude, and look at women as just an object of desire. They do not have any iota of respect towards women. And this comes quite shocking with Sonia Gandhi ji at the helm, heading the party for so many years. And a woman with so much of respect is what we all look up at, Sonia Gandhi. And the statement which has come from Randeep Surjewala is absolutely in such a bad taste. I mean, just shows that how insecure they are, where the men, where they don't have anything else to say, they speak about women in such an appalling manner.
Right. Ms. Sundar, I also want to ask you, do actors who have been artists, face this more than others when they get into politics? Because we've seen these remarks against Nagma, even recently Kangana Ranaut, and Smriti Irani has also faced this.
Not everyone does, but yes, very men who are absolutely think very low of women, who are insecure, who have a misogyny mindset, they do think. We have seen the kind of comments being made about actors, politics or otherwise, I would say. People think that it's their birthright to speak in a very, very demeaning manner about a woman, to bring down a woman or to pass lewd comments or be very, very judgmental about her character. Because men, I feel, when they know they cannot win against women, or they cannot be above women, women are far more superior to them, they come up with these kind of comments which shows that how shallow they are.
Ms. Sundar, what should women in political parties do when they see their male counterparts indulge in this kind of language? And, where does the accountability finally lie?
The party head should put a full stop to it, give a very strict and strong statement saying that nobody is going to speak ill about women. My question to all the men who speak so ill about women, who pass these kind of comments or who think that it's their birthright to character assassinate a woman, I would ask if their reaction is going to be the same if somebody else would pass a comment about the women in their household. I'm sure the reactions would be very, very different. So I think they all need to understand they are born to a woman, they're raised by a woman, they have grown up among women, and even their wife and their children, their daughters, they are women too. So I think before they pass these kind of comments, they should think about the women in their own household, and I think that's going to help them probably put little brains into their heads.
Well, also the space is really politicized. If you ask a congressperson about a certain sexist comment, he will point to another BJP person who has also made, similar comments. So even today, Mr. Surjewala's comment, when it was being discussed, people did point to the other comments that Ms. Hema Malini had to, sort of bear. How does one say enough is enough without getting into who is more sexist than the other?
Any which ways, I think it should not. They should just stop speaking about women. Politicizing about it is later. But I think men should stop speaking about women in such a crass manner. They should learn where to draw a line, where to put a full stop, and not take women for granted. Because gone are the days where you could say that, "Arey, meri ye to aurat hai, mahila abla nari hai." I think gone are the days where abla nari is, somewhere we have left them behind. Today, women are taking the world by force, and they are the strongest people in the world over. So I think, and especially when it comes to India, we have seen how women have come forward and they're making a mark for themselves. So I would not say that I'm not surprised when people say that, oh, this woman is breaking the glass ceiling. I said, wo zamana gaya yaar, kab ka chappad phad ke kab ke aage ja chuke hain. Women are right at the top today. So I think we need to stop thinking about this and not politicize this, but put a full stop and say that I'm not going to do any more character assassination of a woman, because she is also equal to me. If you don't think we are above you, then we are definitely equal to you. Remember, no man is complete if you do not have a woman in your life.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Sundar, for joining us. That was Khushbu Sundar, NCW member.
Thank you so much.
Talking about sexism in politics. Thank you. Also joining me now is Sujata Paul from the Congress and activist Amber Zaidi and Brinda Adige. Thank you all of you for joining me on this show. Sujata Paul, ma'am, Mr. Surjewala's words are sexist, and this is also an example of how deep-rooted sexism and misogyny is in Indian politics, and it gets played out so casually. Some days ago, there was also another MLA who said that women, he remarked on this woman candidate saying that she knows only to cook. For years, the Congress party has been led by Indira Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi. As a woman and as a congressperson, what do you think, ma'am?
As a country, we've been led by Indira Gandhi ji as the Prime Minister of this nation. But when you talk about the IT cell, look at what the IT cell has done. Why have they edited out this comment? When you're talking to people in public life, you talk about them and you talk about their accountability, and that is exactly what Mr. Randeep Surjewala was doing. That one word which they have picked upon is a word which was used in a conversational style, in a manner of conversation, like we normally do. Like we say that instead of, and we say it for all, for example, journalists, when we say Charan Chatukar, inke samne jhukte hain. So what he said, if it has been twisted in this manner, why didn't they say that he also said at the same point of time that she is our daughter-in-law because she is married to Dharmendra? That is what was edited out. So when you are comparing this, again, there is no comparison between this statement and all the others, because he was not making any derogatory comment about Hema Malini ji. All that he said was that everybody, whether it is Mr. Khattar, Mr. Saini, or Mr. Randeep Singh Surjewala himself, we need to be accountable to the people, and we cannot just bend before people. Now, if you want me to explain this in Hindi, I can use the very words, and it will be very clear that what he said was in no way derogatory to a woman as such.
Okay, let me get Amber Zaidi in this.
One last point. Of course, we must make sure that no one speaks badly about women, because when you're in public life, there will be discourse. But calling somebody 50 crore ki girlfriend, didi, that kind of thing shouldn't happen. You shouldn't call somebody a jealousy guy.
Amber Zaidi, yes, ma'am, you've made your point. But a lot of conversational language also, tends to be sexist in nature. And Amber Zaidi, would you think, it's okay to possibly, say that this is part of our cultural ethos, and, we were just talking to a group of men. What do you have to say to that?
So then it's absolutely not okay, and the Congress spokesperson, who is a female, and she's kind of defending the statement which is given by Mr. Surjewala. In Supriya Srinath's case also, when she spoke ill about Kangana Ranaut, then also we saw some meek and weak responses, but most of them were in support of Supriya Srinath. I'm shocked, and this is so unfortunate to see such statements of some political leader from Congress party, and and the Congress party, which was led by female leaders for long time, and also the Sonia Gandhi, she is a female herself, or and also Priyanka Gandhi, who says ladki hu lad sakti hu. They talk about women empowerment and women power and nari shakti and all those points about women empowerment always. But now when such statements are given by their leaders, they should strongly condemn. Or also, not only political parties, they should take some action against such political leaders, but also the election commission should also take some cognizance about such statements, because we cannot normalize such statements in political parties and or by the political leaders.
Absolutely.
Because
Sujata ji, I'm just coming to you, but Brinda, do men say these things because it gives them a lot of applause? Then there's also a problem with the audience, isn't it? Now, how does one do the right thing even if it is not the popular thing, and what kind of pushback should the society have against something like this? Because it's very easy to say that this is part of our cultural ethos, it's conversational, it was not meant in the right thing, but this does have an impact on women's confidence, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. One of the first things I want to place on record is from the Prime Minister to other ministers and elected representatives from every party in India have made these kind of comments. Sexist, misogynistic, patriarchal, chauvinistic, derogatory comments against opponents or who are contesting elections, especially women. And they find that it is their entitled space to make these kind of statements against women who are contesting the elections equally, like them. So all of this just goes to show that their value system somewhere is to be challenged. Their ethical responses and language to the citizens who might have also elected them in the past and they are expecting them to be electing them now, just goes to show that they are not contesting there as people's representative, more as feudal lords. And that is something I think party leaders must address to each of these people.
Right.
Now, when they make these kind of statements, what happens is women, like you mentioned, less than 17%, even these women will not come forward. The women who come forward have some kind of a support. And it is not easy to contest elections in India, especially for a woman. The fact that when women come there, these kind of remarks are made, it is not just maligning and casting aspersions, but also shows that the party and the person is not respectful, not only to the woman who's contesting, but also women who cast their votes.
Right.
Because you do not want to show any kind of respect, even to the votes that are being cast by women in your favor or against your favor. But it is the citizens at large who want to hear respectful language and interactions, which is not happening. So when these kind of remarks are made against any woman,
Ms. Paul, would you like to respond to that? Because there's this interesting point. Well, I'll just come to you, but I want to get a response from Ms. Paul. See, women have become active voters, but they're not active leaders yet because the representation of female women in politics remains low. Ma'am, what do you think that Congress party has actually acted well when it comes to their own leaders making mistakes like this, talking, stuff that could be very offensive to women?
No, first of all, I agree to a lot of things that Brinda ji has said, and even Amber Zaidi ji has said. And but not in the context of this particular statement, because if you look at this statement, what was said was something different, and what is being said is that the leaders are not supposed to be bending before people, and I will definitely not use the word because it is not a word that is one of the best words to use for whether it is in English or Hindi. But we do say Charan Chatukar, so that Charan Chatukar also makes sure
simply
that,
justify.
Yes,
Let her finish.
I'm not justifying at all. I'm not justifying. Please listen to what I'm saying. So, the fact is that probably these words, when we sit in television studios, it doesn't go down well with us. And this is the gender bias that as activists, a lot of us have spoken about. But when
Right.
you are talking about it in the context of a political program and where it has been said, we must not forget what language those people are understanding, and we also use idioms at times. So
Right.
if we can say charan chatukar, it also means अरे आप उनके सामने क्यों झुके हुए हो? So you get what I'm trying to say.
No, but you know, this is to do with women,
Yes,
and you know, this is to do with sexism and misogyny. So, Amber Zaidi, would you like to respond to that? Because you know, there are many words which may have, you know,
Vasudha.
Yes,
but when
finish.
you also say that, see, don't stop. Supposing I say this to you, Vasudha, that stop being a charan chatukar. But I really do respect you as a woman. What does that mean? That I don't expect you to be bending before anybody. As a journalist, I respect you. That is what it means.
Okay.
And that is where it has come from. But what about Brij Bhushan Charan Singh? What about Ankita Bandari who was murdered? What about all the Pahalwan Betiya who were dragged on the roads of Delhi? You know, we need to talk about these things in a larger context, not just talk about it by picking on one particular speech and then editing it out. That is not what should be done.
Amber Zaidi, would you like to respond to that? She's saying that, you know, language is definitely one part of it, but, you know, there are other things which are more important.
I would like to repeat the line which Mr. Surjewala has said against Hema Malini. He said, MP MLA बनाया जाता है क्योंकि आप जनता की सेवा कर सकें. आप हेमा मालिनी नहीं क्योंकि आपको ऐसा नहीं कि आपको चाटा जाए. This is absolutely derogatory. You are using such word in public against a public figure who is a political leader as well as an artist. I don't understand the obsession of political party leaders, especially Congress party leaders. Why say they are so obsessed of Bollywood artists? Recently also Rahul Gandhi made such statements against Aishwarya Rai, Nachania and all. Then again, against Kangana. Why you are not respecting the artists, not only artists but also the women as whole? You need to learn and should not justify. Just give some meek and weak responses and then say you are sitting and justifying Charan Chatukar, saying you cannot simply make just kind of a. What? Right. No, just allow me to complete.
Sujata, would you like to respond to that? Because, you know, what he said clearly was offensive. Like, all of us heard it and it was very offensive, and I don't think there can be any two views to that. Ma'am, would you like to respond to that? Sujata.
You know, Vasudha, you know, when the same thing, if it is said for men by men, it would probably not sound like this, right? But what Amber Zaidi ji did not do was, she did not say that immediately after this line. He also said, हम तो हेमा मालिनी जी का भी बहुत सम्मान करते हैं क्योंकि वो धर्मेंद्र जी से ब्याह रखी है, बहू है हमारी. So it's not as if he is attacking her as a woman. He is talking about what the duty of a politician is. When you are elected, you have to be accountable to people.
Okay, let me get the last word from Brinda Adike. Ma'am, one of the things that the UP Chief Minister said today was that, you know, the opposition is doing this because Hema Malini cannot be, you know, the opposition is not able to find another candidate, you know, in opposition to Hema Malini. So does this happen often in politics that, you know, you can't bring down a woman MP, so you use language that's offensive against her? Brinda ma'am.
Yes, it often happens, and we must not forget that this has happened across parties. When you are not able to not able to fight the right fight, you make all of these allegations, accusations, and character assassination based on their profession. Now, professions can be anything, but the person contesting over there, if she is a woman, then they would always bring in all of these derogatory remarks. Now, I also have to place that no woman from the BJP party has raised any issue when something like this was done by their party members.
Right.
The statements that were made by them. I think it is time for women across parties to stand up for themselves and for other women. If that is missing and that is lost, then we would always be giving the upper hand to men. Right. And whatever the statement was made by this Surjewala, in passing, as a remark by the side, not acceptable. It is just unacceptable because the public continues to repeat this language, and this reiteration of derogatory language, derogatory statements, humiliating or insulting somebody is unacceptable because it is the leader who is leading this kind of a language. And that language in India today is unacceptable towards any woman in public space or not in public space. I think it is time that our constitution is respected, that we are all equal, and irrespective of which party we belong to. As women, we are here to take our place.
Right.
So do not condone anybody's statement and do condemn it, but also say that you do not want that man or any other man to make similar statements again. I think all party leaders must make a statement of this nature, because we did not see any BJP elected representative condemning Brij Bhushan Singh or Ram Rahim. So I think it is time for us to stand up for ourselves.
Thank you so much,
and
all
each
of you, for joining me.